Hi, Misha here, and we're continuing to look at Starfleet Federation ships from Discovery. And I've mostly been doing these in pairs or triplicates, trying to get through them and whatnot. But this is one that's just literally in a class of its own in terms of looks and function. So it gets its own video. This is the Hiawatha class, or if you want to be exact, Hiawatha type, since we're not ever told expressly it's the class. This is a medical frigate, at least in Discovery, during the Klingon War. However, much as in our real world, especially in World War I, you can find it, typically medical ships, hospital ships, were acquisitioned and converted from passenger liners or other vessels. So this would also seem to be capable of hauling people and also transporting cargo, not just through space, but it even seems to have the machinery to deliver it to a planet's surface in cargo containers. Kind of neat. And actually, when they announced this one at Eagle Moss, it was one of the first ones that really got me interested in the Discovery collection because it was getting into kind of the nuts and bolts of the world. Before that, we had mostly warships, Federation, and Klingon. But it was neat to see something else. Plus, I thought it was interesting that they were doing a ship that was never seen flying on screen. It was seen crashed on an icy asteroid. And it was at the beginning of Series 2, which was, I think everyone would agree, a better beginning than Season 1. So what do we know about this? Well, she is an older design, not just based on the registry number, which is like 815, which I've said in other videos. I'm not sure that exactly denotes when something was launched. Everything's relative in space anyway. But also because of the technology we see on board her. Now, she has relatively modern-ish nacelles for Discovery, but not the most modern. We are told in the script that it has lateral vector transporters. That's the same older system used by the Shinzo, the Walker class. So it could be using these for different reasons. Maybe they have longer range or bigger transport capability, but we do know they do consume more power. And according to Eagle Moss, we have a length of 599 meters. But as I do with pretty much all these, dividing it by 2/3 gets us a length just under 400 meters, about 30, I can't talk apparently, 399.5. That's still quite big for a ship of this era, but considering how long it is, it's fitting. It's only about 100 meters longer than a Constitution. And in the real world, if you look at passenger liners, oil tankers, container ships, they're often larger than their military or scientific counterparts. So I'll let it go. Plus, looking at the bridge, this is obviously not a tiny ship. The bridge is quite small here, and we have what I think is kind of neat. It's a little more than a half saucer. It's, I don't know, a 3/5 saucer? Because it does come back a bit. Very reminiscent of the Enterprise era. I think it's neat. And then we have this long section here with what looks to be a spine, which would make sense to reinforce the whole structure. And then we have this top bridge between the nacelles, and then a secondary pylon under each one, again for strength, durability, and for once we don't have overly long nacelles. These are actually proportionate to the ship, so I like that. And we have some basic patterning on the sides and a few other neat details. This is one where, even though again, it was never seen flying on screen, as it were. At least some thought was kind of put into the features of the ship. For example, we have quite a large shuttle bay here, and it may actually pass through, or it may stop and pick up here, but on the other side. That's neat, and something that we see on other cargo, passenger, and yes, medical ships. On the underside, we have some kind of interesting detail. We have what look to be cargo pods, very reminiscent of the ones we see on the Kobayashi Maru, not the test itself, but the ship. Or if you like, kind of like we see in freighters on Enterprise. And then we have this thing, which I presume is an engineering hull. Looks to be, because it is connected physically to the nacelles. You could also have equipment. This is said to be carrying adequate equipment to get these cargo pods onto a planet's surface, whatever that may be. Again, for not a hero ship, or one expected to be seen much, there's something going on. And we even do have impulse engines in the back, which is more than you can say for the original model of the Ambassador class, right? No, I like it. And this ship brings us Jet Reno. Quite an interesting character. Discovery needed an engineer. So, yeah, good enough episode. And neat enough ship that kind of fleshes out the world. So with that, as I've been doing with these, where does this fit with other generations of Starfleet ships? Well, from the Enterprise era, so the 22nd century, we don't have a medical ship. But we do have several passenger ships and cargo ships. But I thought one that would fit in is the Sarajevo class, or Sarajevo type. Sometimes this one has the designation of NC-27. And this is actually quite a large ship for the NX era. It's 200 meters long, but as you see, it's thick. But I picked this because it's obviously meant to be... Sorry, didn't mean to touch you there. Well, the camera. It's obviously meant to be different from an exploration. We see it used as kind of a transport. It's sometimes called an elite observer craft. It seems to definitely have some yacht aspects going on. And I could definitely see this being requisitioned to be used as a medical frigate during time of war. But I really wanted to bring it out here to show you not all Federation ships are saucers, star drive, nacelles. In fact, compared to this one looks downright conventional. And while this one is weird, and I still insist it would look better this way up, I was really happy when Eagle Moss finally released this model. But I could see this being one of its predecessors. However, a successor, at least kind of in the same vein, would be the Sydney class, USS Jenolan. This is late 23rd century. You know the one that Scotty was on. This is a passenger ship, about 230, 240 meters long, carrying at least 200 people. And again, I picked it because it's a non-conventional design, but we have kind of nacelles slung out with actually quite similar pylons. And then a boxy main section. This one has a pretty conventional bridge here. This one has a interesting saucer. Even though they're not directly connected, they do remind me of each other. And again, I could see one of these very easily being used as a medical or evacuation craft, or just a cargo transport. Because again, I have a feeling this class was not only used for medical. I have a feeling sister ships were used for more mundane but also very vital purposes. But I think, yeah, this one's a little sleeker. Has the later TMP nacelles. I could see this being an earlier ship compared with this one. And of course, for the 24th century, no surprises. We have to mention the USS Pasteur, the Olympic class. Again, this was a medical frigate captained by Dr. Captain, or Captain Doctor, Crusher, nay Picard, I don't know. Even though this was in the alternative future that didn't quite come true from All Good Things, we know these ships really did exist because of Deep Space Nine. We see them being used as medical ships in the Dominion War. Of course, this one is quite interesting because of the Daedalus style ball. But if you look in the back, this kind of squared drive section and slung out, although towards the front now, nacelles kind of remind me of the Hiawatha, even kind of the square shape of them. And this was about 350 meters, maybe closer to 400, but yeah, it's probably a little bit shorter than the Hiawatha, but then again you have this big ball here giving lots of habitable volume, and you have a really thick drive section. So yeah, this also has a large shuttle bay. As I said earlier with the Hiawatha, it's a common feature and something you would definitely expect a passenger vessel, a medical frigate, or an evacuation emergency response vessel to have. And much like the Hiawatha, this only has basic shields and basic phasers for defense. It's not really meant for combat. And again, this is obviously very future compared. They work. It's not completely out of the question, in my opinion. What do you think? Again, I mean, it's a background ship. This would never be mistaken for a hero ship. But I actually rather like it. And the model itself is quite long. It's actually one of the longest in the standard Discovery collection. Just something different. Who knows? Maybe the Vulcans or Andorians or Tellarites built it anyway. No, I'm okay with it. It serves its purpose well, and good on Eagle Moss for trying to get into some of the more secondary ships to really make the universe come to life. I know there's others I could mention, transports and freighters that have popped up, but these just kind of came to mind, so why not? A little bit shorter video here for you today, but I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts, so do please comment, and as always, if you could, please like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha. Catch you very soon. Next time.